Hello and thanks for joining us on Panorama on the network service of the NTA. I'm Najaa Atutijani. And now for some good news. The United States of America has sent a congratulatory message to President Muhammadu Buhari on his re-election for another term in office. A statement by Secretary of State Michael Pompeo says the assessment of international and domestic observer missions affirming the overall credibility of the election has been noted. Pompeo says the United States remains committed to working together with Nigeria to achieve greater peace and prosperity for both nations. The Secretary of State also congratulates all the other candidates for their peaceful participation in the electoral process. He also calls on all Nigerians to ensure successful state elections next week. More world leaders are congratulating President Muhammadu Buhari on his re-election. Here are the details with Musa Baba Aliyu.
King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud of Saudi Arabia has congratulated President Muhammadu Buhari on his re-election for this new presidential term. In a telephone conversation with President Buhari on Thursday, the custodian of the two holy mosques wished the Nigerian president success and good health in his second term in office. Also, the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, sent a message of congratulations to President Buhari on his re-election, wishing the Nigerian president success and the Nigerian people further development and progress. Russia expressed the hope that the Nigerian president's second term in office will be associated with further enhancements of bilateral cooperation and closer contacts between the two countries. United Kingdom also identified with President Buhari for securing a second term as the Nigerian president. French Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs, in its congratulatory message, said France will continue to stand by Nigeria and to provide its full support for the implementation of the country's priorities, especially economic diversification, job creation, counter-terrorism, and the fight against corruption. President Buhari has also congratulated President Macky Sall of Senegal on his re-election for the second term. The president commends the people of Senegal on the successful and peaceful conduct of the presidential election, noting that the scenario of successful elections in West African countries is a sign of hope that democracy has come to stay in the sub-region. Musa Baba Ali, NTA News.
Thank you, Musa. Meanwhile, Nigerians in Canada have described the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari as a reflection of the electorate's belief in integrity and the value of diligent service to humanity. Here is Joy Osiagu's conversation with some Nigerians in Ontario.
It is the integrity of the president that I think most people were fascinated about. If you read all the report that has been coming up from the diaspora or from the global leaders, it's always been integrity wins over questionable opposition. The idea of associating corruption with Nigeria is going down, and with this election it seems like it was a test for Nigeria. Right now you don't hear 419 anymore associated with Nigeria.
It's only right that we should all, irrespective of how we feel, put disagreements aside and work with him to make a success of this second term he has. What I would say to President Muhammadu Buhari is to think back to his campaign promises, the platform on which he campaigned, which caused people to vote for him. And remember what complaints people had about the past 4 years of his leadership. Take all the feedback into consideration and be compassionate in his leadership. Having had 4 years in his back pocket with his team, it should be easier for him now to react faster, more expediently, and more strategically.
I would like to congratulate President Buhari on his re-election to office. I would like to see a government, that considers inclusiveness as a key element, in its operation of the country.
There should be cooperation cooperation among the new elected senators, the representative, to cooperate with our President Buhari for this new second term.
The changes I want to see now that we've passed the stage of election, one is security. The government needs to focus more on security, securing the lives of the citizens. They need to invest in police.
The members of the Forum of Presidential Candidates have congratulated President Muhammadu Buhari on the victory of his re-election to steer the affairs of the country. A statement signed by the chairman of the forum, Shitu Mohammed Kabir, says the victory is a call to promote favorable atmosphere for Nigerians to experience positive turnaround in economic and infrastructural development, and also to regain dignity in the eyes of the world. The group prays for divine strength and wisdom for the president. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to do everything within his power towards strengthening critical institutions of government as a deliberate attempt to put Nigeria on a solid economic base for a sustainable future. The president stated this while hosting a victory dinner for the young volunteers who manned the Situation Room of the APC presidential campaign headquarters. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
The young volunteers drawn from across Nigeria worked day and night throughout the elections period, giving out their time, energy and intellect in monitoring and effectively putting the opposition on the defense. Most importantly, the youngsters defended President Muhammadu Buhari's votes and ensured that they are properly counted and declared. This event is therefore put together by the Nigerian leader to formally appreciate their immense contributions to his victory at the polls. The president described their voluntary initiative as an impressive national sacrifice aimed at ensuring credible elections, national unity, and sustainable future for themselves and the country.
I assure you that I will maintain focus because I had been deliberate in my decision to get involved in partisan politics. There's a lot to be done, especially in our law enforcement agencies, the police and the judiciary. Nigerians need to be respected. And I hope I will make impact by the next 4 years to make sure that the institutions are strengthened democratically so that Nigerians can live and be happy in their own country. My aim is to put this country on a solid political base.
The young volunteers were led to the State House by the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who heads the Directorate of Elections Planning and Monitoring of the APC Campaign Council, under which the Situation Room operated.
And it is important for me to also point out to you that during this campaign, everything that was an issue by the opposition, we checked and rechecked. We researched, we polled, and we monitored. And one of the issues they made in the campaign was that the country was disunited. The votes have proven it. But our polls also proved that they were wrong. This country is not disunited. So contrary to weaponizing disunity, majority of Nigerians are united about their national identity. And what we need to work on is the remaining number to build a united Nigeria.
Mr. President, we are so excited that this time we will have the right words. But just to join you to appreciate these young men and women who believe in you, but much more importantly, who believe in Nigeria. So, Mr. President, I feel fulfilled to say that, short as I am, I produced the tallest president in Nigeria history. Congratulations.
And still basking in the euphoria of the election's victory, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bosgida Mustafa, confirmed that the governing APC is not in any way perturbed over plans by the PDP candidate Atiku Abubakar to challenge the election's results in court.
The process was open, it was transparent, it was a credible election, and we would continue to salvo in the victory, but in the process too, we would extend the hands of friendship for the purposes of nation building and reconciliation.
What we as a government and as a people should do is to ensure that we speak less and work more to bring about unity and integration of those who have lost. The real winner in this election are the Nigerian voters.
Senator Ita Enang urged members of the opposition to be measured in their statements, reactions and decisions. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has engaged resident electoral commissioners in Abuja following some hitches experienced in last Saturday's election. Mia Ogidi reports that the INEC boss has insisted that the hitches not be repeated in the state elections, as those in charge of election administration are meeting to review the lapses.
The past few days, no doubt, were hectic for INEC officials, burning the midnight candle to succeed. Thankfully, the national elections are over. However, leaving in its wake critical issues on the non-use of card readers in some polling units and violence recorded. As these challenges still fresh in the minds of many, few days from now, that is precisely on the 9th of March 2019, the governorship, state houses of assembly and the federal capital territory elections will hold. And Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the man at the center of it all, bring together the resident electoral commissioners across the country to carry out a post-mortem of some sort and review strategies for better outing.
Once you conduct the national elections, you take stock and review so that processes and procedures are strengthened, learning from the experience of previous elections before we go into the state elections.
After March 9th, lying ahead of INEC are 7 off-season governorship elections, and the lessons from the general elections will shape INEC for more acceptable outing, beginning from the end of this year. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress has commended Nigerians for re-electing President Muhammadu Buhari, whose victory the party believes is in the best interest of the citizenry. The party's national chairman, Adams Oshomole, at a press conference in Abuja, described the planned court action by the PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, as a step which negates the peace accord signed by all presidential candidates before the election. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
Nigerians, particularly fans and supporters of the APC and President Muhammadu Buhari, are still in the mood of celebration after the declaration of the president as winner of the February 23rd polls. This is as the nation also prepares for the governorship and state assembly elections. Comrade Adams Oshomole says the results of the first phase of the 2019 elections indicates that Nigerians have resolved to take ownership of democracy by electing genuine leaders of their choice.
The essence of the collective effort that have been made and the intervention of all those I can describe as genuine friends of Nigeria has been to try to improve the electoral process so that rigging can be eliminated or at least reduced to tolerable level.
He said President Buhari's administration is committed to moving its policies of fighting corruption, boosting the economy, and providing security as hallmark of good governance.
We need genuine investors who have faith in our country and who have long-term interests in our country. We want people who will invest in reproduction, who will invest in labor-intensive industry, not those who will play on our financial system and play on our foreign exchange regime.
He urged Nigerians to support the party and its candidates at the forthcoming governorship and state assembly elections. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Similarly, various individuals, associations and socio-cultural groups have continued to urge the PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, to accept defeat and join in the national effort of building Nigeria. Ogwa Vivian Onyedibia reports.
The Arewa Consultative Forum has called on Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to demonstrate good sportsmanship and, as a committed Democrat, accept defeat and congratulate the President-elect Muhammadu Buhari. The ACF said such will be in the overall interest of Nigeria and place him among global Democrats. Similarly, former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olisa Abakoba, in a statement by his media assistant, urged the PDP candidate not to approach the election tribunal, even though the PDP is aggrieved about the outcome of the election. He hinged his advice on the fact that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is in a strong position to take up the mantle of a statesman. He asked the candidate not to lose sight of the legacy and greatness that lie in front of him. In the same vein, the Buhari Media Organization has asked Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to accept defeat, referring him to the positions of different local and international observers who described the just concluded elections as the most democratic in the nation's history. The group in a statement said Atiku is twisting facts in a bid to discredit the outcome of the elections adjudged free, fair and acceptable. It said the voter turnout on election day in Yobe and Borno states was indication of the new lease of life, unlike in 2015. In the meantime, Yaga Africa, a civil society organization, said in a statement that the election results as announced by INEC are in line with its parallel vote tabulation estimated range. It said Yaga estimated between 50.0% and 55.8% of votes for the APC and between 41.2% and 47.0% for the PDP, making the INEC final figures fall within its PVT estimated ranges.
And in Enugu, the Secretary General of Ohaneze Ndibu, Uche Okuku, has joined other prominent Nigerians in congratulating President Muhammadu Buhari on his well-deserved victory in the February 23rd presidential election. Jude Abugu reports that the Secretary General gave the congratulatory message on behalf of the entire Igbo race.
In his congratulatory message to the President, the Secretary General reinstated the position of the group before the election that President Muhammadu Buhari deserves a second term, going by his numerous projects and programs across the country, some of which include the reconstruction of sections of Enugu-Onitsha Expressway, the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway, and the Zix Mausoleum in honor of Nnamdi Azikiwe.
His victory, as expressed by the majority of votes cast, has clearly shown that the president has been on the right course in the last 4 years.
He expressed joy that the president got more votes in the Southeast in the election than what he recorded in 2015. He called on the opposition politicians to accept the outcome of the election, which he said is the will of the people. The Saturday's presidential election, through which the president re-emerged the winner, was described as peaceful, free, fair, and credible by both local and international observers. In Enugu, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
And Panorama will return after these messages.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA. Growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop
when we're always in crisis. Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Thanks for being there. The Minister of Communications, Adebayo Shitu, has congratulated President Muhammadu Buhari on his well-deserved victory at the just concluded presidential election. In a statement through his senior advisor on media, Bolaji Kazim, the minister says President Buhari's victory is a testament to the great effort of his administration put in place to restore confidence of Nigerians. He adds that the massive construction and rehabilitation of infrastructure in the country is an indication of hope in the next level agenda. The minister says he is proud to be associated with the most progressive government, which remains unsurpassed in achievement since the beginning of the Fourth Republic. Now, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says building a strong, secure, economically buoyant and corrupt-free society is the responsibility of all citizens. The minister stated this in a meeting with management staff of the ministry in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
Stressing the point that building an egalitarian society is feasible but will require the contribution of all, the minister was quick to note that the successes achieved so far by the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration is a manifestation of the support and contribution of well-meaning Nigerians.
I want to implore you to continue to support this administration. The effort put in by each and every one of us goes a long way in making the country a better place.
The minister pointed out that the fight against corruption, the stability in combating insecurity, and deliberate policies put in place to grow the economy alongside its social intervention programs have yielded results. With over 2 trillion naira spent so far on infrastructure alone, the ease of doing business is equally gaining popularity, just as the policy on visa on arrival has also placed Nigeria on a high ranking among the Committee of Nations.
Treasury single account, TSA, whistleblower policy, etc. Of course, huge amounts of money as well as property are being recovered from looters.
On food security,
especially in staples such as rice, yam, and cassava. In 2014, we imported 1.2 million metric tons of rice from Thailand alone. Last year, we imported only 20,000 metric tons. We have grown the number of our rice farmers from 5 million to almost 12 million.
Sir, your victory has added so much to the entire victory, overall victory of Mr. President. And so we are very proud of you for that.
In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now to judiciary matters. The Chief Judge of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Justice Ishaq Bello, has implored judicial officers to exhibit diligence, dedication and honesty in discharging their duties in order to win public confidence and trust for the judiciary. He stated this while inaugurating the FCT Election Petition Tribunal. Aliu Tukur was there for NTA News.
While it is the responsibility of the Independent National Electoral Commission to conduct elections, it is the court's mandate to resolve disputes arising from the polls. To effectively carry out this function so that the judiciary will not be used as a tool to truncate the nation's democracy, the FCT Election Petition Tribunal that will look into litigations that may come up from the elections has been inaugurated. The Chief Judge of the FCT High Court urged members of the tribunal to shun corrupt practices and sustain the judiciary's effort to promote transparency and good governance.
They should be very much upright and show courage. They don't have to look over their shoulders before saying this is the position.
We are going to abide by our oath of allegiance and judicial oath that we have sworn to this afternoon, and believe in God that we'll be able to do to all manner of persons that will appear before us.
The tribunal consists of 6-member panel. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has fixed the 17th of May for judgment in a case instituted by the Cross River State government against the federal government, challenging the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen. This follows the hearing of argument by the two parties. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewo tells us more.
Under Section 231 of the Nigerian Constitution, the Supreme Court, exercising its original jurisdiction, can determine a matter which did not necessarily pass through the lower courts. This matter is one of such. The Cross River State government is in the Supreme Court to seek the interpretation of Sections 4, 5, and 6 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which stipulates separation of powers of the three arms of government. It is also seeking the interpretation for Sections 153 and 158 of the Constitution, which talks about the duties and powers of the National Judicial Council as the sole body responsible to initiate disciplinary actions against judicial officers. But while putting forward the arguments before the court, Solicitor General of the Federation, Dayo Akpata, who represented the federal government, said that the Justice Onogen case does not fall into the areas where the Constitution allows the apex court exercise its original jurisdiction.
What we have done is to inform the court there's no dispute at all, that whatever has happened is personal to my lord, and they cannot invoke the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court.
But counsel to the Cross River State government held otherwise.
It is particularly targeted at the constitutional safeguards for the separation of powers as reserved in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, particularly with respect to the independence of the judiciary.
Being a constitutional dispute, the Supreme Court was composed of 7 justices led by Justice Bode Rhodes Bible. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
And that's a wrap on Panorama. Thanks for watching. I'm Najaa Atutijani.